Going to look at drop twos in the circle of fifths. Here we go. Okay, starting with C7, root position, root, fifth, seventh, third, then we go down a fifth, then it's fifth, root, third, seventh. So it flip-flops. Root, fifth, seventh, third, fifth, root, third, seventh. C7, G7, sorry, C7, F7, B flat 7, E flat 7, A flat 7, D flat 7, F sharp 7, B7, E7, A7, D7, G7, take it up an octave, G7, C7. That's either root position, root in the bass, or fifth in the bass. Now I'm going to do that on the middle four strings. So let's see, starting on C7, C7, F7, B flat 7, E flat 7. So you get kind of a E7 shape and then an A7 shape. Very familiar for guitar players. And one thing that I recommended with all of these is keep the first finger barred and play around with that. It makes it easy to slip these grips around. It's very obvious with these to do that. But what we're missing so far is, if we had root in the bass and then fifth in the bass, we're also going to have third in the bass. So here's a voicing you may recognize as the C7 voicing. There's third, seventh, root, fifth, and then seventh, third, fifth, root, F7. So now I'm going to take that up an octave, and you can just run the cycle of fifths. All right. And you can notice what's happening. It happens in both of these cycles, but the triads, the tritone here is just moving down by half step, and the voice on the top string is moving down by whole step, and the voice on the B string is staying. And when you move from the seventh in the bass to the third in the bass, the tritone still moves down by half step, but the top voice stays and the middle voice drops down a whole step. And they alternate. So what's happening on the top two strings is something like this. And what's happening on the bottom two voices is right? And when you move, so when you have the third in the bass or the seventh in the bass, you have them moving that way, but when you have the root or fifth in the bass, root and fifth alternate, so you get that on the bottom. Like so. And then the top goes. Okay, yeah, and that's so great. Okay. Okay, but I didn't do the third in the bass on the middle four string. So if I start, let's see. Okay, here's a C7. All right. This is probably the hardest one for everybody to visualize on guitar. This is third, seventh, root, fifth, and then this is seventh, third, root, fifth, root, and that continues. And is the toughest to kind of grip slip, if you will. So if I started all the way up here, like maybe from C7, and then F7, and then B flat 7, E flat 7, A flat 7, D flat 7, F sharp 7, E7, right, and so on and so on. Okay, I got through thirds in the bass, roots in the bass. And then I was going to talk about rhythm changes. Rhythm changes go 1. I'm playing it as the seventh chord, which you can do if you're playing a bluesy version of it. 1, and then to the sixth chord, which is going to be A7, and then D minor 7, G7. Play them all as seventh chords. C7, A7, right? Okay, D7, G7. Oh, because one of the chords moves by a third, you're going down a third from C7 to A7. You end up, to the next inversion. So it's a nice thing to practice. C7, A7, D7, G7. Play around with that. 1 6 2 5, 1 6 2 5. That's the first 8 bars, and then bars 9. Let's see, first 4 bars, and then the next 2 bars are C, C7, F, F7, F minor 7, C. Usually, in the simplest version, C, G7, C. So we do like C7, A7, D minor 7 or D7. This is a nice way to do it. I went to the next inversion of that D7, G7. Right. Just practice the 1 6 2 5. Move that around a bunch of different inversions. We'll start there. I'm going to leave it at there for this week because that's enough. And listen to some rhythm changes, and then we'll talk about them some more, about the bridge, which is all just around the circle of 5th, 7th chords, and some other things you can do with it. And we'll go from there.